You ever notice how nobody hands you a rule book when you hit 60? One day you're juggling grandkids' bills, doctor visits, and maybe even a little gardening. And the next, you're realizing that life after 60 comes with a whole new set of unwritten rules no one ever warned you about. But here's the thing, those who do figure them out, they end up feeling more in control, more at peace, and yes, even a little younger at heart. You're not slowing down, you're just getting smarter. That's why today, we're going to talk about 10 unwritten rules every senior should know. These aren't rules you'll find in a manual, and nobody's going to announce them at your next checkup. But they will change the way you think about aging, relationships, health, and maybe even happiness. So grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and let's talk. This isn't about being perfect. It's about living with purpose, dignity, and a quiet kind of confidence that only comes with experience. Let's start with something that sounds simple, but might just be one of the most powerful unwritten rules out there. You don't need everyone to understand you. Just a few truly do. Here's the truth. Not everyone's going to get you. And the older we get, the more that becomes obvious. Your grown kids might not fully understand your daily routine. Your friends might not share your views anymore. And heck, even your doctor might rush you through an appointment like you're just another box to check off. But here's the thing. Life after 60 becomes a lot lighter when you stop trying to explain yourself to people who've already made up their minds. You've got limited energy, and it's worth spending on people who actually see you. Not who they think you used to be, or who they want you to be, but who you are now. Maybe you're the kind of person who still takes morning walks before the sun is up, or you've taken up painting, or decided that today's the day you finally learn how to use that blasted tablet your grandkid gave you. Some people will roll their eyes. Let them. You're not here to be understood by the whole world. Just find your circle, no matter how small, and pour your heart into those connections. Now, let's talk about something just as important, maybe even more so, depending on how full your calendar is these days. Your time is now more valuable than ever. Don't spend it on guilt. We all carry a little baggage, regrets from the past, things we wish we'd said or done differently. Maybe you didn't take that trip. Maybe you missed out on a chance to reconnect with someone. Or maybe you're just feeling like you should be doing more, volunteering more, visiting more, giving more. But here's an unwritten rule most people don't talk about. Guilt is not a productive use of your time. And if there's one thing we learn as we age, it's that time becomes the most precious thing we own. You don't get refunds. You don't get reruns. You get right now. So instead of spending it in the rearview mirror, try giving yourself a little grace. You did the best you could with what you had. And you're still here, still growing, still learning. That counts for something. And if something does weigh heavy on your heart, maybe it's time to write that letter or make that call. But do it from a place of healing, not punishment, because you've got wisdom now. And wisdom knows guilt is a lousy fuel for a life well lived. All right, let's shift gears a bit. You don't have to say yes just to be polite. This one's big, especially for folks who spent most of their lives putting others first. Parents, caregivers, the reliable friend, the helpful neighbor. Saying yes probably feels automatic. Someone needs help moving a couch, and your back's aching? You say yes. Someone invites you to an event you're not thrilled about? You say yes. But here's the truth. Just because you can say yes doesn't mean you should. After 60, your yes should mean something. It should be full of joy, interest, or at least peace. Not obligation, not resentment, and definitely not fear of disappointing someone. It's okay to say, thank you for thinking of me, but I'm going to pass this time. It doesn't make you rude. It makes you honest. And let's be real. Honesty starts feeling a lot more important than people pleasing the older we get. You've earned the right to spend your time how you choose. If that means turning down a dinner out because your knees are sore and the couch is calling, go ahead and put your feet up. You're not a bad friend. You're a wise one. Now that we've talked about choosing who gets your energy and how you spend your time, let's keep going. Because there's another rule, one we often forget in all the noise of daily life. You don't have to explain your joy to anyone. It might sound simple, but this one sneaks up on people, especially when you spend a lifetime being practical, responsible, and putting others first. But now is the time when your joy doesn't have to make sense to anybody but you. If you love spending an hour every morning doing crossword puzzles in your robe while sipping lukewarm coffee, do it. If you've taken up baking bread, collecting ceramic frogs, or watching old westerns because they remind you of your dad, that's your joy. Own it. There's this quiet power in doing what makes you smile, even if no one else understands it. You're not trying to win anyone's approval. You're trying to feel alive. And that feeling, that lightness in your chest when something just feels right, that's what matters now. Don't let anyone roll their eyes at what lights you up. Life is short, but joy stretches it out, makes it feel longer, fuller, more meaningful. And if your version of joy looks different than someone else's, that's fine. That's more than fine. That's beautiful. Now that we're on the subject of doing things that matter to you, let's get into another rule that's a bit hard to accept. But once you do, it changes everything. Let go of the need to stay young. This one might sting a little, because let's be honest, we live in a world that treats aging like a problem to solve. Anti-wrinkle creams, endless supplements, ads screaming about staying young, looking young, moving like you're still 40. But here's the truth that nobody says out loud. Chasing youth steals your peace, and peace is worth more than wrinkle-free skin. You don't need to move like you're 25 to be vibrant. You don't need to look like you did in your high school yearbook to be attractive. You just need to show up as you, fully, honestly, and without apology. Age isn't something to hide. It's something to stand on, like a mountain you've climbed. Because let me tell you, there's something magnetic about a person who walks into a room with silver hair and a smile that says, "I've lived, I've learned, and I'm still going." That kind of energy doesn't come from looking young. It comes from knowing who you are and not needing anyone else's permission to be that person. So, let your joints creak a little. Let your laugh lines deepen. That's not decline. That's proof you've shown up day after day, year after year. Let that be your badge of honor. And speaking of showing up, you're allowed to slow down and not feel guilty about it. We live in a world that praises hustle, fast responses, quick fixes, instant everything. But life after 60? It runs on a different rhythm, a slower one, a more intentional one. And that's not something to apologize for. It's something to celebrate. You're not lazy because you take longer to get out of bed. You're not unmotivated because you pause between errands. You're not falling behind. You're choosing to move at a pace that lets you actually experience your day. A slower walk means you get to notice the birds. A longer lunch means more time to savor that perfect slice of pie. An afternoon nap doesn't mean you're wasting time. It means you're giving your body what it needs. You've earned the right to move through life gently. And guess what? Some of the best conversations, best thoughts, and best memories don't happen in the rush. They happen in the quiet moment. The ones we're usually too busy to notice when we're younger. So breathe, stretch, sit in the sun. Let the world spin a little while you rest. There is wisdom in stillness. And sometimes, slowing down is the bravest thing you can do. And now, while we're being honest, let's talk about something that doesn't get mentioned enough. You don't owe anyone a long explanation for your boundaries, whether it's your time, your energy, your home, or even your peace. Once you decided something doesn't sit right with you anymore, you don't have to write a 5-paragraph essay justifying it. Maybe you don't want visitors after 8 p.m. Maybe you decided you don't like lending out money. Maybe there's a certain person who drains you every time you talk, and you've chosen to step back. That's okay. You don't need to say more than, "This isn't working for me right now." Boundaries aren't walls. They're doors. Doors you get to open or close as you see fit. And when you protect your space, your energy, your mental health, you're not being selfish. You're being wise. You've seen enough sunrises to know that peace is precious. So protect it. Kindly, firmly, and without guilt. Because at this stage in life, you're not looking to impress. You're looking to feel right. And that's something no one else can decide for you. So, here we are, talking about time, energy, boundaries, and joy. All those little things that add up to a fuller, calmer, more meaningful life. Not a perfect one, but one that's yours. And speaking of living a life that's truly yours, here's something that can be hard to swallow. But once you do, it opens up a whole new level of freedom. You are not responsible for everyone's happiness, that weight you've been carrying. Try and make sure everyone's okay, smoothing over every conflict, keeping the peace at every family gathering. It's a heavy one. And somewhere along the line, especially if you've been a parent or caregiver, you were probably taught that your job is to make sure everyone else is happy. But here's the catch. You can't pour from an empty cup. And after 60, the toll of always putting others first can start to show up in your body, your mind, your mood. It's okay to care deeply about the people in your life. It's not okay to sacrifice your own, well-being trying to fix things that aren't yours to fix. If your grown kids are arguing, that's not your circus anymore. If a friend's a sour mood and expects you to brighten their day every time, that's not your job either. Being kind doesn't mean being drained. Being generous doesn't mean being used. And being loving doesn't mean being available 24/7. Let people feel their feelings. Let them work through their stuff. You can offer support without surrendering your peace. Your happiness matters, too. And if that means stepping back, saying no, or choosing silence over drama, so be it. That's not selfish. That's sacred. Now, if you've ever struggled with what your role should be at this stage in life, this next one is going to hit home. You don't need a big purpose to have a meaningful life. We hear a lot about finding your purpose, like it's this huge, glowing sign waiting to be discovered in retirement. Something big, something impressive, like starting a charity, writing a book, or mentoring hundreds of people. And don't get me wrong, those things are amazing, but they're not the only ways to matter. You matter when you smile at someone who's having a hard day. You matter when you send a text just to check in. You matter when you take the time to really listen to your neighbor or teach your grandkid how to make that secret family recipe. Purpose doesn't always show up at the parade. Sometimes it tiptoes in, soft and steady. It's in the quiet moments, the small gestures, the ordinary days that feel a little warmer because you were part of them. You don't have to do more to be enough. You already are. Your value isn't measured in productivity. It's measured in presence. And when you show up fully with a kind word or a steady hand, you leave a mark, even if no one's clapping for it. There's a deep beauty in a life made of small kindnesses. Don't ever underestimate that. And while we're on the subject of quiet power, here's something that can truly shift your whole experience of aging. Comparison is the thief of peace. You've probably heard that before, but wow, is it true? It's so easy to look around and start measuring your life by someone else's yardstick. Maybe your friend is traveling more. Maybe your sibling seems to have more energy. Maybe someone on TV your age just climbed a mountain and you're over here trying to find your glasses. But here's the thing, none of us are living the same story. And the minute you start comparing your chapter 15 to someone else's chapter 3, you lose sight of everything you have. Maybe you didn't travel the world, but you raise a family that still calls you when they need advice. Maybe you can't run a 5K, but your neighbors feel safer because they know you're always looking out. Maybe you've got health struggles, but you've got strength that can't be seen on any scan. Your story is yours, and it's enough. Celebrate what you've built, what you survived, what you've loved. Don't let someone else's highlight reel make you doubt your own legacy. You've done more than you realize. And even now, you're still becoming, still unfolding in ways that matter. And that brings me to something that I think is so important, yet often goes unsaid. It's okay to outgrow relationships, even long ones. This might be one of the hardest lessons of all, because we're taught to value loyalty, to stick things out, to honor long histories. And yes, there is beauty in enduring love and deep-rooted friendships, but not all relationships are meant to last forever. Some are right for who you used to be, but not for who you are now. And that doesn't make you ungrateful or cold. It makes you human. If a relationship consistently drains you, disrespects your boundaries, or leaves you feeling worse instead of better, you're allowed to take a step back. You're allowed to protect your peace, even if that means stepping away from people who've been in your life for decades. People grow. People change. You've grown. And that means not every connection will grow with you. That's not failure. That's life. Honor what you shared. Be thankful for the memories. But don't let guilt tie you to a relationship that no longer supports your well-being. Because the truth is, your time, your energy, your heart, they're all too valuable to waste on anything that doesn't lift you up. And here's the beautiful thing. When you make peace with the fact that some people are meant to be part of your story for a season, not a lifetime, you open up space. Space for peace. Space for new connection. Space for the version of you that's not weighed down by obligation, but lifted up by clarity. So here we are, with one more unwritten rule that ties all the others together. Maybe the most important one of all. It's never too late to start something new. I don't care if you're 60, 70, 80, or beyond. You're not too old, too late, or too anything. That's a lie the world likes to sell, but the truth, as long as you're breathing, you're becoming. You're allowed to change your mind. You're allowed to pick up a paintbrush for the first time. You're allowed to move to a new town, fall in love again, start a garden, adopt a dog, or join a book club even if you haven't read a novel since high school. There's no expiration date on joy. There's no cutoff point for growth. You've still got chapters to write, stories to live, and moments that will take your breath away. If you let them, maybe you've spent years in a routine. Maybe you've convinced yourself that your best days are behind you. But I'm here to tell you, they're not. Not if you're willing to lean into change. Not if you're willing to be curious again. Not if you stop asking, "Can I?" and start saying, "Why not?" The people who age the best aren't the ones who stay the busiest. They're the ones who stay open. Open to new ideas, new people, new adventures. And sure, that can be scary. But it can also be wildly liberating. Try something small. Take a different route home. Learn one new thing about your smartphone. Say yes to something you'd normally decline. It doesn't have to be big. It just has to be yours. Because at the end of the day, aging isn't about fading away. It's about becoming more fully yourself, with fewer apologies, less noise, and a whole lot more freedom. So, if you've been waiting for a sign, here it is. You are not done yet, not by a long shot. You have more love to give, more laughs to share, more quiet mornings and meaningful conversations ahead. The world still needs your voice, your wisdom, your presence. And if no one's told you this lately, let me say it loud and clear. You are doing better than you think. You've come a long way. And no matter what life throws at you next, you have everything you need to handle it with grace and strength. So keep going. Protect your time. Choose your joy. Set your boundaries. Let go of the guilt. Welcome the new. And most of all, live in a way that feels true to you. Because when all is said and done, it's not about how many people you pleased or how busy you stayed. It's about whether you can sit with yourself in the quiet and say, this life, this version of me, I'm proud of it. And that is the real goal. Now, if this video spoke to you, I'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below. Share one unwritten rule that's made your life better, or just say hello. Your words might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. And if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe for more real talk, more support, and more reminders that life after 60 is just getting good. Thanks for spending this time with me. Here's to living your best life at any age. You deserve it. Always.